What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. It's Saturday night, and that means it's time to put our picks in for the Westgate SuperContest. Craig, we've been back and forth. We've looked at a lot of stuff here. Thoughts on some line movement that you've watched throughout the course of the week?
Yeah, I think that the COVID cases seem to be ramping up a little bit, not with main players, but with some, I would say, secondary type players. And I suppose that the way that the term that they use is like cluster, when it's two or three players that are on the same side of the ball, offensively or defensively, as part of the same group. That's when you can kind of start to adjust lines and adjust movement. But for the most part, we will be involved in, I think, one of the bigger moves of the week. And I think that earlier in the week, it did appear that we were at least leaning on the right side of it. But honestly, we don't have much of an advantage because everybody else can do the same thing, Howard, when they make their picks tonight and they give them out for the Super Contest. But earlier in the week we did say, and if you were going to bet the Broncos, to make sure that you got your 5, because by the end of the week it probably would not be that. This would be the last opportunity to get 5. I didn't understand how the Raiders were that big of a favorite. They really didn't deserve it. You pointed out last week, or a couple days ago, that the last time they were 7-point favorites in a game last year and lost the game outright. So you're talking about 2 years of not covering a spread of a touchdown. It's a long time for a team. Now, maybe this is the week that the Raiders put all of the doubts to rest. Personally, I feel good about the Raiders. I like their team. I think they're playing great, but that doesn't mean that I think that they're going to win by a touchdown over any team in the NFL. And so that one in particular is one that stuck out in terms of value for me. Tampa Bay has risen a little bit in terms of being a favorite. So also with Big Ben back, I'm actually surprised that the Steelers are only 7.5, but I'm going to guess by tomorrow morning they'll be 8 or something along those lines as well. Beyond that, I don't think we saw a ton of movement. I think more or less the things are where they are. Buffalo moved a little bit only because of having a couple COVID cases. And if you watched our live stream earlier in the week, we were talking about Miami and the Los Angeles Chargers, and I think our initial lean was toward Miami. They've also been hit with a couple of players on defense that are out. Now, I know that
a couple of key players on defense.
Well, late today, they just announced that Kyle Van Noy is going to play tomorrow. So that was an add-on back to that. You can do that. So that was important. So we did shift around a little in our thinking over the course of the week. I think this is a tougher one. But I look at our 5 picks, and I see 3 underdogs, and I see 2 favorites, and I know we got a good shot to win. That's the way I usually see it.
All right, beautiful. Well, let's just get right to it here. Let's talk about the games that we did do. Let's start it off with just going down the card here for the weekly card. First game for us that we took the Giants. They're getting 3.5 points here against the Eagles. One of the things that we talked about was just how much the Giants were actually covering. Yeah. And when you're talking about an improving defense like theirs, Philly gives up a lot of sacks, a lot of, rushed, hurried throws there from Carson Wentz. I feel like this can stay nice and close. I'll stick with the trend that the Giants are covering as dogs.
Yeah, I think the Giants win the game. I'll even go one further here. I think the Giants are just as good as Philadelphia, if not better. They've been playing very well. They're covering more spreads than anybody in the NFL this season, and that's because they keep games close to the end. In fact, they'd be covering 90% of the games this year had they not blown that one to Washington a few weeks ago where they lost that game outright. They didn't cover that one. So, look, I really like to pick a lot. I'm not a big fan of Philadelphia. I feel like they still have those inflated lines just based on their name, but Wentz hasn't played well all season long. They do get Sanders back. That's a very big upgrade for them having him there. There's no doubt. So that will be a plus for them. But in general, you have to back. Look, you can basically go into a game and see things the same way, but if there is one distinct quarterback advantage, you're best backing the quarterback. I don't think that there is a huge advantage from Wentz to Daniel Jones. And Jones last week took a
I'll differ with you on that one there. I mean, because
what has Wentz done to show you anything?
It's not a question of what Wentz has done. It's a question of the fact that Daniel Jones hasn't taken a step forward. Daniel Jones continues to make the same dumb mistakes that he's been making for well over a season right now. So listen, I like Daniel Jones.
He held on to the ball for the first time all year. Maybe this is the beginning of that.
Maybe it is. And maybe this is the beginning of things for Carson Wentz too, Craig, because he's got all his weapons back now. But I'm still siding with the Giants here. I'm not gonna throw Wentz out under the bus in comparison
How many
to
quarterbacks in the NFL that are starting this season have been worse than Carson Wentz?
how many? Oh,
Yeah.
several, dude. Several.
5?
Let's see. I mean, do you want me to? I can count them. I can go
Why
Philip
not? We got time.
Rivers,
Huh?
right? Big Ben statistically has played
No
worse.
way. No way.
What are you talking about?
Big
Well, look
Ben
at the
is
numbers.
worse than Carson Wentz?
Statistically speaking, yes. Matthew
Can
Stafford
you
has
provide
not
me that data?
I will. I will. You know what? Do you want me to do it right this second?
Yes, I do. I'm going to Google it myself.
I can pull their names up. I can pull their pages up here. Jeez, listen to you. Now I gotta like type in names.
I'll be wrong. Prove me wrong here.
Who am I looking at? Big Ben?
You look at Big Ben, I'll look at Carson Wentz. How about that?
No. I got them both right here. It's not like I don't trust you, but dude, I don't trust you. All right, let's see. Big Ben now just under 2,000 yards. Carson Wentz 100 yards less.
More or less yards than Wentz.
Yeah.
He has more touchdowns or less touchdowns than Wentz.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Who has more interceptions? Who leads the NFL in interceptions?
I'm thinking from a fantasy perspective, not a reality perspective. Maybe that's
if you lose 2 points for a pick, then you're losing points with Wentz too. Give me 5 quarterbacks.
2 points for a pick. What kind of leagues are you playing in these days? Come on. My grandpa doesn't even use -2 for an interception these days.
Listen, all right, whatever. Let's go back to the point. Give me 5 quarterbacks worse than Carson Wentz. Go ahead. It's starting this year.
All right. Let me look and see.
Keep going.
Garoppolo, definitely Garoppolo.
Right.
All right, I'm going.
You got to eliminate that. That's not fair.
What's that? Who?
Dallas is not fair.
Why isn't Dallas fair?
Because their starters hurt. Washington is another. Okay. Bears is another. That's 3. Keep going.
Drew Lock except for the last 2 games.
I'll give you Drew Lock. Fine. 4.
Okay. All right. Daniel Jones.
5.
Okay, isn't that all you asked for was 5?
I did, but we're struggling at this point.
All right, let's take your pick from the Jaguars.
6.
Nick Foles.
I already put him in. Bears.
Mitch Trubisky.
No, you can only go 1 player per team. Howard.
Okay, anybody off of Washington.
I could go Ben DiNucci and the DiNucci brothers. I'm 5. Listen, here's the point.
Anybody off of Washington.
I already included them. I mentioned them.
All right, so I've got 6 now. There you go.
So Carson Wentz is the 24th best quarterback in the NFL. Okay. And the Philadelphia Eagles are laying 3.5 points on the road with him. No, we take the Giants.
I was the one who said the Giants to begin with.
I think you were fighting against your own pick.
I wasn't. See, that's it. No. I wasn't fighting against my own pick. What I was saying is that Daniel Jones is not as good a quarterback right now as Carson Wentz.
He maybe is not, but the bottom line is that Daniel Jones is at home and they're getting 3.5.
And we're taking him.
I think Jalen Hurts is going to play either this year or next.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll
keep
just
saying that. It doesn't ever happen, but I'm going to keep saying it.
Nobody listens to you, Craig. Nobody listens to you anymore.
Look, outside of Haskins, the last 2 years, virtually every rookie quarterback has shown that they deserve to be playing in the NFL. Even Luton on Jacksonville last week. So let's give Jalen Hurts a shot here.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you. What'd you say?
Let's give Jalen Hurts a shot.
Next game we're taking on this slate here is our first favorite, and that's right. We're taking the Buccaneers. 5.5, laying 5.5 points here to the Panthers. The line is 6 right now. I think Brady comes back in a big way. I think he's got major thing to prove. This game against the Saints, which we were on the right side of last week, I think he's embarrassed. He's got his weapons. I think he comes out firing. They say you're only supposed to run on Carolina. That's the game plan supposed to be. Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson the last 2 weeks showed you, no, you can definitely pass on them. Tom Brady will do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I'm worried only on this one that the line has gone up. I just don't know. Like that makes me nervous a little bit. I know we are getting value on this one, but I find it odd because I feel like at least from people that I listen to and intelligent people, they seem to be backing Carolina, and I don't agree with that. I agree with Tampa Bay in this spot. Anytime Brady's back has been against the wall in any situation where we've called him done, old, finished, he ends up winning. Here's the bottom line. Brady has looked bad against the Saints this season and no one else. That's the truth. Maybe the Saints just have game planned him in a way that they have figured it out. I don't know why that is. The Saints outscored the Bucs like 70-3 or whatever the score was this season. Beyond that, Brady's been a candidate for MVP of the league. So I'm with you. I expect to bounce back. I will say I've been very impressed with Carolina and the way that they played all season long. I also do not forget how poor they played 2 weeks ago when they got throttled on Thursday night, I believe. I don't remember who it was against, but they got killed on Thursday. Killed by Atlanta on Thursday night. So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. If Carolina wins 8 games, that's a massive win for them at the end of the year, and that's kind of their pace. This is not one of them. Bucs win by 10.
There you go. I like it. All right, next game, like we were just talking about, Denver Broncos. We're getting 5. That line is 3.5 now. So we're getting a really nice value here off of Denver. And I'll tell you what, from a defensive standpoint, they're getting both their corners back right now. AJ Bouye is officially back. And then who's like King, I think, is the guy on the other side. He's actually going to be playing, and he had an ankle issue. So they're both back now. They've got their top corners. I feel like this offense has found a little bit of a groove. I would like to see them not fall behind and have to go into catch-up mode the entire time. But I'll take the 5 points here in another tight divisional game.
Yeah, we're 2-0 with Denver this year, so we've kind of had the secret sauce for them. We opened up at the beginning of the season with them at home. We'll always do that at the beginning of the year, always take Denver plus the points at home because they play well in that first month of the season. And when I looked at the game, I just didn't think the Raiders deserved to be that big a favorite. I don't think there's any value with the line right now being 3.5, and I think it'll be 3 tomorrow. That's pretty much what it should be. These teams are not that much different. The Raiders are probably a little bit better, maybe a point, maybe a -4, but -5 is too many points for the Raiders to be giving here. And by the way, outside of Ruggs and a bomb to Aguilar every once in a while, they're really not the kind of team that's going to score an 80-yard touchdown. I'm not saying that they can't score 30 points in a game because, of course, they did it against Kansas City a few weeks ago. But I think their model is more or less keeping the game close, grinding it out, using Jacobs, using Waller in the red zone. Denver's game plan is clearly terrible every week. They don't attack. But I would have to think if there was ever a week where they would have learned what to do the last 2 weeks, they should just basically be taking their second half from the last 2 weeks and start it off in the first half. So maybe it's some up-tempo, maybe it's a pace of play, change of play, because the coaching staff for Denver and everybody else involved, this is basically it. If they want to keep their jobs, they got to win this game. They lose this game, it is over for their season. They're going 6-10 or 5-11. So we're going to take Denver plus the points here. And I would expect this game to be close. Maybe the Raiders kick a field goal with Carlson at the end.
Okay, there you go. So those are the first 3, right? Giants plus 3.5, Bucks -5.5, Broncos +5. Our illustrious producers, both Matt Sells and John Mpemba, want you to know, Craig, that Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton can be added to your list of quarterbacks performing worse than Carson Wentz. Next game we're taking here. I love it. Here's
what I would ask.
What?
Hold on.
What?
But here's what I would ask our illustrious producers, John Mpemba and Matt Sells. If they had the choice, would they take Carson Wentz or would they take Lamar Jackson in a one-game situation?
All right,
and the answer would be Lamar Jackson, I believe. Maybe not Cam Newton. I'd have to put him in that conversation. I think that's fair. But we're still talking about a bottom 6 or 7 potential quarterback in the NFL. And
first it was 5, now it's 6, now
bottom
it's 6
9 quarterback in the NFL. A bottom 8, a bottom 11. Right. Howard.
Matt Sells says Wentz. He's taken Wentz over Cam Newton. Have not heard from John Mpemba yet regarding Lamar Jackson.
Cam Newton, I agree, but not over Lamar Jackson.
I just see 3 dots moving nonstop right now, so he must be typing a whole lot.
I appreciate them watching the live streams. I think my illustration was just to show that Carson Wentz is one of the bottom quarterbacks in the NFL. He is not a top 20 guy or top 21 or top 22.
It's pretty hard to do.
Leads the NFL in interceptions, and they were on a bye week last week.
Listen, dude, it's pretty hard to play a game when you're picking yourself up off the ground 22 times a game.
Okay, so this week, if he throws 2 or 3 more picks, can we have a different conversation next week? Is that fair?
Well, I'll tell you what. Then I'll look and see how many hurries, how many hits he's taken. I'll actually, give you that whole.
That's very fair. So in your estimation, the offensive line of Philadelphia is the worst or close to the worst in the NFL? I don't know. Is that accurate?
Been pretty bad, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know the answer. I know when Lane Johnson doesn't play, they don't win. I know that. But beyond that, I couldn't tell you one thing.
There you go. Well, see, here you go. That's why
Peters,
you got me
is he
here.
Still there? He's like 100.
No, he's not there anymore.
Okay. All right.
He's like 90. He's only like 92. Come on. Fourth game on the slate we're taking here. Cardinals. We're laying 1.5. The line is 2.5 now. So we're getting a point value here. Again, Bills traveling across country. Yeah, I mean, it's some special teams and some guy, and Josh Norman in the secondary as far as the COVID outbreak there. I look at this team, I look at the Cardinals right now. I look at the way Kyler Murray is playing. You want to talk about a guy who's playing like insane ball right now.
He is.
He's got the weapons there. The Bills defense, they've been giving up a ton of points. So, yeah, they look great against, putting up points for Seattle. But, I mean, Russell Wilson absolutely carved through them. Kyler Murray can do the same. Not to mention Kyler Murray, how about this? 67 rushing yards per game. That's his average for this season.
Yeah, the Cardinals is by taking the Cardinals this week, that's a good example, I think, just for people out there to put blinders on when you make picks. And you really can't look at the previous week and use that as an indication as what can happen going forward. We're seeing a lot of that with Tampa Bay and New Orleans, I think, after Monday night, because, again, the game is so close to Sunday. When it happens Monday night, it's really fresh in our mind. It's essentially the last game that's played with the exception of Thursday. So the exercise is really good to show people, hey, look, we took Arizona last week. We lost. We felt Arizona was the winner in that game. You're up a touchdown late. You cannot fall into the trap of thinking, oh, woe is me. We took them and we lost. You have to be able to forget about that and just basically say who is playing better offensive football. Outside of last week, it is the Cardinals. Which quarterback is playing better? It is the Cardinals. And then the third element is on the side of the Bills, and that is the coaching. So if the Cardinals could ever get themselves going in the right way, making the right calls, not calling stupid timeouts, and basically not giving up a defensive touchdown, which is what happened last week when Murray fumbled, I think the Cardinals will come out ahead. So not my favorite pick of the 5 that we have, that's for sure. But you got to pick 5. It ain't easy. And I do believe that the Cardinals can win this game, hoping that it is a shootout, because I think that whoever has the ball last wins. That's where you want to be. I'd want to be on the side of the Cardinals.
All right. So that's where we are right now. Our 5th pick, we go all the way to Monday Night Football. Matt Nagy has relinquished the play calling. That's now going to Bill Lazor, his offensive coordinator. We're taking the Bears. We're taking getting the 2.5 points. Listen, I get it. What Minnesota has been doing has been absolutely fantastic for the last 2 weeks, and it's been crazy. Dalvin Cook. This is a very strong run defense that we're looking at right now for the Bears. I'm not saying that they're going to contain, but if you watched Thursday Night Football and you saw the Colts defense shutting down Derrick Henry at times, now granted, he's still got his 100 yards, but I mean, did you see how many times he got slammed behind the line of scrimmage? I think the Bears have the capability of doing that to the Vikings, slowing them down in this game. And I'm hoping for a little bit of a blossoming of their offense here with Bill Lazor now doing the play calling, because Matt Nagy sucks at play calling.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I think also before we get to Monday night, Thursday night was another good lesson in betting where you looked, and we talked about it. You looked at the game. There was basically no indication whatsoever to think that that Tennessee wouldn't win that game. And the line told you it was Indianapolis. The line told you the Colts were going to win. I mean, that's what I said Thursday night. Like, I didn't believe it, but why are the Colts favored? Well, they must be better. Tennessee's at home. They're not even favored. And sometimes the line tells the story, and you got to forget about the personnel. This is trying to make money. This is point spreads. This is not about fantasy or anything else. And sometimes that's all I look at is I'll just look at a line and I just throw everything else that I know away. And usually that's going to be the indicator for me, because my heart would have told me any day of the week to take Tennessee at home on Thursday night. And I was like, no. And the Colts were the pick. And it turned out to be that way. Okay.
And I
so
did bet it, by the way.
Huh?
And I won. And I felt good about it.
So Monday night's an interesting one. It's another home underdog. We know how much home underdogs cover. We went off that a couple of weeks ago with New England, and we took New England against the Jets. But again, we're at about almost, I think, 60% hit rate again on Monday Night Football, with the last two teams on Monday night covering, Giants and Jets back to back. Now, 2.5 is not really a key number. So essentially, you have to believe the Bears could win the game outright. You can't just say I love the 2.5. Mm-hmm. That's just stupid, because in essence the game's going to come down to a 3. It's not to say that it can't come down to a 1, but more or less 3 is the key number. 1, 1.5, 2. You're not getting a ton of value. You have to go into Monday night and say I think the Bears are going to win, and I do. I think they have a good chance to win. I don't know what the Lions were doing last week. It's almost as if they did not game plan that one, because Cousins did not throw a lot of passes. Their receivers did almost nothing. And the Vikings are going into every game basically right now saying, we're just going to run Dalvin Cook until you stop him. And I think that that's where the Bears can excel. I still don't think they're going to play well offensively. I don't see that. And I don't think personally that Laser is going to make a big difference. I believe the last time he was an offensive coordinator was with Miami, I think. And so that's why I think Lamar Miller may get more of an opportunity, because he had him or used him a lot out of the backfield. So that could be something to watch too. But I think the defense overcomes Minnesota. I'm still not buying into them. And it's Kirk Cousins on a Monday night game with tough elements in a place that he doesn't usually do well in Chicago. And I don't really have a lot more. Again, of the 5 picks, not my first, second, or third favorite, but it's a tough week. And and there's a lot of tight lines, 2s and 1s all over the place. And the Bears will be our 5th pick, plus 2.5.
Vikings are 4-16 in Chicago since 2000.
That's another fair reason. I could have brought that to the table. Thanks.
Kirk Cousins actually 0-9 on Monday Night Football.
Well, thank you very much. Have a good night.
He's due.
Oh. He's due. He's due. So that'll cover it for us. I know that you got things to do, so I'll just wrap it up with this. Cleveland is a game that we liked going into the week. We really didn't touch on them that much or go back to them, but Cleveland -3 is 1. We liked Miami -2, but with the COVID stuff, we got off that. I'm trying to think if there was anything that I liked in particular. Another game where I think it's like the betting lesson is the Rams. I think a lot of people are going to take Seattle, feeling like Seattle's the better team.
Yeah.
And the line is kind of telling you the Rams are going to win the game, I think. But I
also like Washington at +4 at the Westgate.
You mentioned that. Yeah, Detroit is so hard to figure, man. Yeah, Detroit is really hard to. That's the one team that without a receiver, it seems like is a big deal. Like I'm not a big believer in the receivers out, they stink. Like, I mean, look how good the Saints played fine without Michael Thomas. It feels like without Golladay, the Lions can't win. It's really weird.
Well, they also can't get out of their way to fix their running game. Like, they just don't trust DeAndre Swift. They got to keep running out.
Yeah.
Kerryon Johnson and Adrian Peterson, which is just not working.
Yeah, but by the way, Kerryon Johnson did nothing last year to not get any opportunity at all. I don't understand that one. I'm not saying that he's great, but they don't even give him a chance. And look, I understand it. Matt Patricia is fighting for his job too. And this is probably honestly, if they lose this game, he's got no shot, I don't think, of coming back. But they do have a softer schedule the rest of the way. They could go 9-7 if they won a lot down the stretch, but they have not shown enough to believe that. So this is a tough week. We're going for 5-0 every week, but look, we'll be the 4-1. We'll be thrilled. 3-2. I don't think that we should be too unhappy either. This is a tougher week.
All right. Well, I'm going to go in with the confidence of 4-1 or 5-0. How about that? I'll take that energy on there.
You got it. Well, go have a good night and enjoy your Saturday night and best of luck tomorrow.
Well, thanks so much, Craig. To you as well. Big thanks to John and Pemba, who, by the way, took all that time to me to say Lamar sucks. And per Pro Football Focus, Philly ranks 30th in pass block efficiency.
Okay,
so that's not good. All right. Well, there you go. That's going to do it for us, guys. You can find these picks posted over at wageralarm.com. Those will be up as soon as I get that ticket in and posted before the games start. You can check it all out there. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Big thanks to John Impemba and Matt Sells for all his work as well. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. This has been the Wager Alarm live stream. We'll catch you next time.